Hi guys, how you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, my site where I blog about all the things that I've learned from and about the tarot cards. And I also review tarot decks and books and make these videos on YouTube. And besides this, I also naturally read tarot cards professionally, and I mentor and teach students who want to learn how to, read tarot cards. In case you're interested, I have all these links in the video description, so you can totally go check it out. And let's come to today's video. I'm sure you must have made out from the video title that we are looking at a very, this is a spread video, so it is a very interesting spread that I'm going to be looking at today. This is a spread that I have been inspired recently to create because, as you can see, it's all about discovering and breaking away from your repeating negative life patterns, right? Now, what happens is over the years, especially when I get repeat clients, I'm doing readings for them over several years sometimes, and I know whatever's going on with them, and I see some cards show up, I see some patterns show up, and I see the kind of stories kind of repeating sometimes. And this is and I kind of somehow ended up always noticing these things, right? And of course I know that this happens because I've seen these clients go through these various stages of life, and I've been doing readings for them for a long time now. But what if you are, say, doing a reading for yourself where you know your life story, so you don't need to talk about it much with anybody else. You are just doing a reading for yourself, and you want to figure out what your repeating negative life patterns are, and you want to discover how to break away from them. And so if you want to do a reading for yourself, or let's say you get a client who is aware of these negative patterns, who is aware that there is something like that I need to figure out, and I need to break away from these patterns. So something like this where you directly get right into it, and study that, and you get more information about that. So naturally I said, okay, let's there's obviously a spread for that, or if there isn't, let's make one. So this is one of the things, right? When you start creating a spread, we begin by making a list of the questions that we need answered from that spread. And we all naturally also look at the different areas where this is going to affect. Now, a while ago, I made a video about how you can use a very simple mind mapping process to create your own spread. So I will link that video in the top right part of this video, so you can go check it out. And in that video, I've gone step by step, examining everything, and I've done a example spread there to show you the process. But here I'm just going to skip along. I mean, I've done the process, but for the sake of keeping this video short and to the point, I'm going to skip along to the list of questions that I have made for this. So first and foremost, we're going to ask, what is the pattern that keeps repeating in my life, right? Because that's the whole point. But then once you know that, you want to know where it is showing up, which life area is this pattern repeatedly showing up. And once that happens, we want to look at the root cause. We want to know how it started, because sometimes understanding that root cause really helps us uproot. See the play on words. It helps us uproot that whole pattern. It really helps. That's why most psychiatrists, I guess, they go right into your childhood and stuff like that, because they really want to help you uproot it. Okay. Then once you know the root cause, you also want to know how it grew. What was its growth process? What helped it grow? What were the circumstances or situations that helped it grow? Because then you can also, that is part of the pattern in some way. It will help you understand more clearly how that pattern feeds and grows, right? And then, of course, Fifth question is how or in what way has it manifested and shown up in my life? Because here you get a little bit more information, more detail about, what are the different things or in which way it has shown up in your life, right? It will be very similar to, where is it showing up? Those cards will kind of connect there, add value to each other, kind of a thing. Next one, of course, here is the core point. How should I break this pattern? Right? And of course, what is the lesson that I am meant to learn that I haven't yet learned? Because if you haven't figured out how to break that pattern and you are, of course, asking the cards, then there is probably a lesson that you were meant to learn which you haven't learned. So, what is that lesson? Right? Understanding that lesson will also help you break away from this pattern. Next up, we have to ask how you should implement that lesson in your life. Naturally, because what's the point of just having a lesson or figuring out, oh, this is the lesson? What do you do with the lesson? You implement it, right? Next up, what challenges will I face while implementing the lesson? See, this is, I believe, the practical thing, right? Just knowing what the lesson is and how to implement it, that's great. That is genuinely great. But what happens is once you start implementing that lesson, there will be challenges, there will be hurdles, there will be issues that show up, and that might, have an opposite effect. It might kind of hurdle you back into that pattern. It's happened with me. So, I always like to know what challenges I will face so I am ready for that. Yeah. And then how do I overcome these challenges? Obviously. And then once all of this whole journey is done, what will show up in my life once I'm done with this pattern? So what will be the, no, I wouldn't say the outcome, but what will be the next step? What will be the next level where I'll find myself at once I'm done with this pattern? So now you see you've got 11 questions, and ideally I like to assign one card for each question, right? That's how we work at the spread. We take each question, we give it one card, and then you design your spread in actual, in the layout, you design it. Now, I did, again, a bunch of permutations and combinations and stuff like that. So I'm just going to show you the final layout that I came up with. But believe me, it's gone through a bunch of iterations to get here. Okay? So, here we go. This is the first question, which is, what is the pattern that keeps repeating in my life? Now, the next one is where it's showing up, which life area. The third card, how did it start? What is the root cause? The fourth card, how did it grow? What is the growth process? And then the fifth one, which is in what way or how has it manifested or shown up in my life? So I know it kind of looks weird like right now, but it's kind of, where it shows up root cause, it kind of looks like a tree, I think. That's how I was looking at it when I was, laying them down there. Okay. Next is, how should I break this pattern? Okay. So that is the one on top, like pushing it all down. What is the lesson that I'm meant to learn? And how I should implement that lesson in my life. Card number 9, what challenges will I face while implementing this lesson? And how I will overcome these challenges will be card number 10. And finally, card number 11 tells me what shows up after I'm done with this pattern, right? So I'm sure you must have noticed, like, actually the thing is, I was inspired by two different symbols as such. Yes, part of it was, like the plant part is their root growth and all of that, but that's just two cards. So I was actually inspired when as I was laying all these cards down, I was inspired by two symbols. One is the image of the anchor, because this is a pattern that's obviously been stuck around for a while, and that's the energy of the anchor symbolism. It's anchored down, right? It's stuck. It's there for a while in your life, in your life's patterns. And the second one, of course, now was the image of the dagger, because I had to find a way to cut through this negative pattern and find out what lies on the other side. So, I mean, it's just, those were my inspirations for, coming up with this particular spread design. Okay, so now that you've seen how I've constructed the spread and how I've created the layout and what my thoughts and the logic that went behind it, and of course, I have suitably impressed you with my PPT making skills. Thank you, thank you. Anyway, so now we've done that. Let's go to my spread table, where I will have pulled up a spread, laid it out, and we will interpret it. Because, hey, what's the point of looking at a spread without an actual example? Yeah? All right. See you on the other side. I'm sure you guys must have noticed the weird angle at which my camera is at. But believe me, I tried to, just do a sample sort of layout and see if all the cards fit, and this was the only weird angle at which you could see most of the cards of this spread. So, all right, so here we go. First question, what is the pattern that keeps repeating? Here we go. Where is it showing up? Which life area? How did it start? The root cause. Then how did it grow? What is the growth process? Then in what way or how has it manifested or shown up in my life? I'm doing this for a fictional person, so just know that. How should that person break this pattern? Okay. What is the lesson that she's supposed to learn from this, which she has not yet learned? Okay. How should she implement that lesson in her life? What challenges will she face? How to overcome those challenges? And finally, what will show up once this is done, once she's done with the pattern? Okay. Whoa. Right. See, the shadow card is the Fool. This is very interesting. I like to also see what's up here, and there's a Chariot. I like this. Okay, I'm just gonna keep these cards. Just, up there for reference. Because I like to look, I don't know if you guys are following me on my blog, but I recently wrote an article about the various additional or extra cards that we pull out in our spread. And I talked about the shadow cards, which I also like to call the sky card. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the video description. You can go and see. Okay, I'm just referring to my diagram of the spread here. So we have card number 1, and then, okay, let me put this here so it fits, I hope. 2, 3, and 4, and then 5, and then 6. Can you see it? Okay, this is good. I know the cards will overlap a little bit, but just bear with me. I'm trying to fit everything in this little space. Okay, then we have, oh boy. All right, okay. 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then 11. Oh, you can't see the 11th card, can you? Okay. I hope you can see the 11th card. I'm just gonna, okay, I'll open it. I'll keep it somewhere. There we go. It's, just for the sake of this video, I'm just fitting everything in here. Later, when you do the spread for yourselves, for your clients, you can obviously lay it out a lot more neater, a lot more freer on your spread cloth. All right, enough of that. Let's begin with the interpretations. All right. So card number 1. Whoops. What is the pattern that keeps repeating in my life? This one. 5 of Wands, right? There's always either this or that. I want to do this, I want to do that. There's always that chaos. There's always something that is distracting me. Now, okay, I'm sorry I'm reading it as me, but it is for someone else. So let me rephrase that sentence. I would say this is the card of chaos. This is the card of being pulled in several directions all at once, right? Or at the same time, wanting to do various different things. So this is the repeating pattern here for your client, for the client that I'm reading for. Always having to deal with various interesting things all at once coming at her, and she's like, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? She's being pulled in all different directions quite at the same time, and she can't figure out what to do, which one to take, which one to go for, right? That is chaotic, that is confusing. And where does this show up? Which life area does this pattern show up at? And we are here. This is 2 of Pentacles. Do you see that in the reverse? Especially pretty interesting. Now, Pentacles is always the area of finances and money and practical things, right? And when especially in the upright, right? This is again some just a quick sort of thing for people who get confused with looking at reverse cards. Don't worry, just make the card upright and get the meaning, and then make it reverse and then get the meaning. Go step by step. You don't have to rush and hurry, right? So anyway, so she's always, again, it's the same energy really. Here she's getting pulled in different directions. Here she's juggling 2 different things, and these are practical things. These are money related things. These are finance related things. So in the reverse, right, where it shows up is where she has to stop juggling and she has to focus on something. This is very much how this chaotic energy shows up. Like wherever she has to stop juggling and start focusing, especially in the area of her life which has to do with money and finances and practical situations, this is where it shows up in her life. Suddenly there are 5 different things that she gets pulled into or pulled towards or called to do or whatever, and then she's like, what the hell should I focus on really? This is where it shows up. So how did it start? What was the root cause? And here again we get a reverse card, the Hierophant reverse. Okay, the root cause. See, now the Hierophant is the card of essentially following the rules. This is the card which talks about how do you say it, structure in a very, very rule bound, system bound manner. You follow the structure, you follow the rules that have been set down since God knows when. And in the reverse, obviously, the Hierophant tells you, Hierophant reverse is all about not really following the structure or stepping out of the boundaries of that structure for a little bit, not necessarily keeping to that structure that's been given down or that's been handed down to you since a long time. So it started because of, maybe in her life she had some sort of unstructured beginnings, right? In her childhood, maybe her childhood was a little not different from the norm. How should you say that? Yeah, her childhood, I'm not saying that it broke away from the pattern or structure completely, because otherwise the Hierophant card would not have shown up. It was there was a structure, but it was way different than your normal childhood structure. So there was maybe a little non-formal structure that she grew up in, and that's where it started. Maybe this whole tendency to get pulled or dragged or get distracted by several different things all at once. Okay, now the next one is, how did it grow? What was the growth process? And see again how we get a reversed card, the Temperance card coming up reversed here, right? So how did it grow? Now Temperance is the card which talks about, again, let me make it upright so you can see better. Temperance is the card which again talks about attaining a certain level of mastery, of understanding, of transformation, really, with the silver turning to gold there. and the, you drop the ego, you come to this point. The whole point with the Temperance card is that you are at an elevated situation in life where you find the balance, where you are transforming, where you are growing, where you are attaining a certain level of mastery over your element, really. But then in the reverse, essentially, there is still something that needs to be done before you can get there. You're not quite there yet. You are maybe finding, the balance is not there. The transformation process is blocked. All sorts of things, right? So these are the things which allowed this unstructured process really to just keep growing. That, there was no formal structure. There was no formal how do you say, channel of learning, even for available to some extent, where you could say, okay, this is how you do these things, this is how you follow these steps. That was not there. So it was more like a just do what comes naturally, do what you feel like doing whenever you feel like doing. Now all that is great when you're a kid, but when you grow up, as the growth process manifests, it hinders the growth process, it hinders the transformation, it hinders the ability to become, take charge, to become and attain that mastery level here. And that's the chaos, right? And so card number 5, in what way has it manifested or shown up in her life? Again, this all kind of connected here. There you go. Moon, right? Moon is all about confusion. Now, here's the thing. Moon is about confusion. Moon is also about creativity and intuition. So yes, this person I know is extremely creative, extremely intuitive, all of that. But at the same time, there's so much. Moon is also a very big shadow card. There is so much that she has kept suppressed inside of her psyche, inside of her subconscious. And as it comes up, it creates more and more and more confusion for her. So even though there is so much creativity, there is so much amazing ability for insight, there is also a lot of shadow stuff that she needs to deal with. And as she deals with that, the moon can also create a very withdrawn, kind of depressed environment, and that is also something that happens a lot. So what happens is she gets pulled into various different directions. The story so far, right? She gets pulled. This is her pattern. There's so many different directions that she gets pulled into, and it manifests in all the various practical areas of her life where she needs to focus practically about whatever it is, but she can't. And its root lies in her, as always, in a little bit of an unstructured, different from the norm sort of a childhood, where there was a structure, but it was different. And that led her to be more free-spirited, so we say. But being free-spirited, she did not learn the art of discipline. And what happened is, as it grew, or what made it grow, or ultimately how it has grown into, is a situation where she's close to attaining mastery over her inner processes. She's close to transforming and becoming so much better and all of that. But she is blocked because she can't find that balance to keep her going. And how it has manifested in her life is by creating more confusion, by creating more maybe depression, by creating an environment where she does withdraw. And there's a lot of stuff from the subconscious that comes up that she needs to deal with every single time. There's a lot of the shadow work that she needs to do all the time, and it can be hard on you. It can be very emotional also, and that's your mood. All right, so then we come to card number 6, which is how should she break the pattern. And see, very interesting, all these reverse cards coming up like that, right? And we have here the strength card coming up reverse. So, upright, the strength is all about being patient and being understanding and being, turning to your compassionate side to kind of control your ego. Your willpower should be more strong and all of that. But come up in the reverse, it essentially says, don't be patient, don't be understanding, let the lion roar. Yeah. So in order for her to break this pattern is to stop being so nice and soft and kind really to herself and saying, oh, poor me, I need to be, maybe she's had too much of that. Maybe the cards are saying enough with that. Now take charge, take control, let that lion roar, and just go out there and break that damn pattern. It's enough already. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so let's see now. What is the lesson that she's meant to learn? This one, right? Which she has not yet learned. And let me see that. Queen of Swords, right? See, the Queen of Swords is someone who can rise above all this confusion. Let me hold that card up. Oh boy. Here we go. The Queen of Swords rises above. See all these clouds? Clouds are confusion. So she rises above that. And yes, she is compassionate. She's like, okay, I understand. She's very empathic in that way, like having gone through her ups and downs. She understands that yes, that can happen, but at the same time she holds that sword and she's like, do not bullshit me. Just because I understand your journey doesn't mean you gotta take advantage of me, right? She's pretty awesome like that. So the lesson that my client needs to learn, which she has not yet learned, is to rise above that confused state of mind and to see the bigger picture from a higher altitude, yeah, and to see that picture and to then yes, she understand that the empathy, the compassion, all of that, but at the same time not bullshit herself as well, yeah, and to use her head to rise above the situations and to see the whole better, clearer picture. Okay, that is the lesson which she has not yet learned. So how should she implement this lesson in her life? Ace of Pentacles. See, again, the 2, the 1, right? The Ace of Pentacles, essentially she should take this gift, right? This is the practical, hands-on kind of a gift that has been given to her. She should take it like that, and she should, it's a very precious gift that is being given to her. She should take this gift, she should accept this gift, and she should, use it. Because this is the whole point. How should she implement this? She should take this as a gift and she should start right away, because Ace is also beginning. So she shouldn't waste time thinking about it, making sense of it. No, this is the lesson. This is a very practical lesson. Take it. It's the lovely gift of the universe that the universe has given you. Take it and start using it right here, right now. Okay. So what challenges will she face during this implementation? The King of Pentacles reverse. I just love how the cards, the elements show up, right? The King of Pentacles is all about his, look at that. He's all about the long-term plans. He's all about the routines. He's all about the steady, stable, slow and steady process to getting where he wants to get. So in the reverse, that ain't gonna happen, right? The challenges that she faces here is this might completely derail, her routine. This might completely upend, really, to a certain degree, her long-term plans. But that's okay because it's all for a good purpose, right? So because she's been in this pattern for such a long time, see the presence of so many major arcana cards here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And of course, let's not look at the shadow cards, but they are also major arcanas. There's already 4 heavy major arcana cards here in this 11 card spread, and we still haven't opened 2 more. So it's already very, very, how do you say it, deep. There's a lot of core issues that are showing up here. And then there's the ace energy, which is, I would say, right next to the, in terms of major, hierarchy, I would say the aces come right after the majors. So that is there. So the challenges that she faces, right? Okay, it may derail her routine. It may upset her long-term plans for a bit, but you know what? That's fine. Just adjust and keep going, okay? And how should she overcome these challenges? There you go. Stop kidding yourself, right? This is the cheater card. This is the guy who steals, who takes advantage. I mean, there's a lot more meanings that I know of, but right now this is the one that's popping up in my head. Okay, so that's what I'm going with. 7 of Swords is cheating. It's taking advantage of the situation. But now in the reverse, the cards are saying, stop kidding yourself. Stop telling yourself that this is just for now, or this is just temporary, or this is just this is just that, or giving yourself the run around and saying, nah, it doesn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Stop all that. Just follow it. Okay, just do it. It doesn't matter if this, things are a little upsetting or changing or whatever. Just go with it. You will see good things. And what will show up in her life after she's done with this pattern? Da-da-da, the 4 of Wands, right? Happiness, joy, harmony, celebration, party. No, and in good, lovely interpersonal relationships, it's also very interesting to note that she starts this with the 5 of Wands, ends up back in the 4 of Wands, where it is harmonious and not chaotic, right? She will be able to, right? She may be able to continue doing several things at once, but this will be in a harmonious manner. There will be a lot less distracted, crazy energy and a lot less joyful, pleasant, celebration energy, right? So all in all, what shows up after that is harmony. It's bliss. Even in her interpersonal relationships, she will see a lot more joy and happiness, right? And so now let's look at these shadow cards because I love looking at them. They talk about the overall environment of this particular reading. The Fool talks about a new beginning. Again, the energy of the Fool is amazing because the Fool is like, just take the leap, man. Don't worry about the consequences. And that is kind of what this one was also saying, right? How to overcome the challenges, right? Just stop kidding yourself. Just do it, right? So the Fool also says, just do it, man. Just do it. And then we have the Chariot. And the Chariot is all about making your presence felt in the world, just going out there and making it happen for yourself and standing up in your own light, in your own sort of energy, joy, all of that. It's just basically being your own, becoming your own person as such, and just like, I'm here, right? Wow. So this is a very interesting and insightful spread. And as you saw, I didn't pull any of these cards beforehand. I just pulled them after I shuffled the deck. So this is not anything I planted. Wow, I'm just very, very, impressed, right? And again, just as a matter of interest, if you will, even if we ignore these shadow cards for a bit, uh, out of a spread which has 11 cards, okay, let's go deeper. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 major arcana cards, so that's a little less than half, but pretty close to half of the entire spread is major arcana. And we know major arcana is all about the deep spiritual and archetypal energies and forces that are prevalent in your life. So that is a big major chunk right there. Okay, now let's look at how many wands cards showed up. We have 2, the 5, and the 4. Again, very interesting number, because 5 is change, chaos, like that, and 4 is the number of stability that brings balance here. We look at the numbers too, that'll be fun too. Now wands, then swords. Again, we have 2 swords, the Queen and the 7, right? Again, very interesting, the personality trait and the number 7, which is again, okay, we are not talking about that. 7 is all about the pushing limits and testing limits and staying within the limits of your mind's, sort of jump there. Cups. There are no cups cards. This is again very interesting. So feelings and emotions, right? Unless we are looking at water element here. Water. No, this is Taurus is earth. Temperance is Sagittarius, fire. Strength again, fire. Moon, Pisces, water. Okay, you can say this could be water element right here, but other than that, there's no specific cups card. And again, we have 2 pentacles cards here, right? So we have the ace and the king. So that's again personality, and then the powerful ace, which is just like the one step below the majors. So that is the seed energy of this. But no, sorry, we have 3 pentacles: the ace, the 2, and and the king. So we got so the highest represented suit here would be the pentacles. Swords and wands are at equal. Cups are absolutely not there, which is very interesting, because sometimes when in a particular spread we don't see a particular suit, right? It essentially, the cards are saying, that maybe that is not what you need to delve into right now. Because I'm saying that because this specific spread here is dealing with patterns, right? So if we bring emotions into the matter, the whole thing will go crazy, because the only representation of that element here is the moon card, which we know is all about that. Oh, it's a mixed card. There's plus and minus here, but it's very heavy there because it's again a major arcana that's representing that element here, right? So that is that. Okay, now numbers. Do we see any patterns in terms of numbers? There's a 4, there's an 8. There are 2 5s. Then there's a 14, which again you could round out to a 5. Well, okay, 4 and 8, again, they are interconnected, yes. How to break comes as an 8, and what comes as a result, you come to the 4 again. Very interesting. 8 is about transformation and change, pattern to pattern, going higher. And 4 is stability and structure, right, in terms of numbers. And 5 is again big changes, right? Because after the structure of the 4, there's still the stagnancy is removed by the 5. So it is a necessary change that comes with the 5, right? So there are 3 5s here. So there's a lot that needs to, in order for you to transform and come back into a structured situation, there will be plenty of changes that you will need to make to get there, right? Moon is 18, which is a 9. There's no other 9s here, so that's again, interesting there. I guess those are the number patterns that show up. If it, so here in this, again, in this example, while after looking at the spread, look at the big picture, look at the representation of different elements, see what that tells you. Look at the numbers, see what that tells you. Right? Okay, so I guess that was pretty interesting. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, your ideas, your interpretations, what you thought about this spread, all of that. If you tried this spread, let me know how it went. If you want, you can just email me, so it'll be private. Don't have to put it in the comments. You can just email me. And thank you so much for taking the time and watching this video. I know I can make really long videos, and I'm going to try to make them shorter, but with the cards, I just can't help myself. It's always me teaching, right? So anyhow, so please, thank you so much for watching, and let me know your thoughts on this particular spread, and if you tried it and all of that. And yeah, and follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, all those places. Sign up for my newsletter, because I got real special stuff that will not appear anywhere else, but only in my newsletter. So it's very exclusive to my newsletter subscribers. Yeah, that's about it. That's enough for my self-promotion here. I guess I will see you soon, my next video. The monthly prediction one. So until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye for now.